A long time ago, before your parents were born, Russian astronomers wanted to know if man could survive in a capsule when launched into space. Since they couldn't test this out on a human, they decided an animal should take the trip. Their mission involved placing a dog in a space rocket. They would launch it full blast so it would revolve around the Earth a few times. If they heard the dog barking during the trip, they would know that they could send people out into space. If they didn't hear her bark, they would continue improving the capsule and their space mission. So they walked around Moscow looking for a street dog because a stray would likely be stronger and could best tolerate cold and lack of food. In a park, they saw a little lost dog drinking water from a puddle. They snuck up and captured her. The dog cried and tried to escape, but couldn't get away. They named her Laika and took her to the Space Center for strenuous training. In order for her to get used to tight space inside the capsule, they placed her in small cages. They also put Laika in a large washing machine so she would be accustomed to feeling acceleration at takeoff. And she went into rooms with rocket noises so she would feel more comfortable during her trip. One day, when the scientists believed Laika was ready, they announced to the whole world, "We're going to launch a dog into space to demonstrate that she can circle the Earth in a space capsule and come back alive. Then you will see we are the best in the world." "But boss," whispered his assistant, "she can't come back alive. We don't know how to do it." "Shh, quiet. They don't know that. When they see that she can take off and live in space for a couple of days up there, they'll think it's the most important thing and they'll forget about whether the dog returns or not." Shh. Shh. On November 3rd, 1957, space capsule Sputnik 2 took off from Russia with Laika as its only passenger, heading for the sky. Scientists at ground control monitored their screens to see what was happening inside the capsule. They held their breath, waiting to see if Laika had survived the launch or not. Suddenly, the dog barked, and everyone exploded with joy. "She's alive! We did it! We can send men into space, and we'll rule space someday." The Sputnik stayed on its mission to circle the Earth. While Laika watched over us from above, she had no idea that the big blue ball was Earth, and that the brown areas were continents where humans and animals lived. Actually, she didn't understand or enjoy it at all. She was simply afraid. She went around and around and around, and suddenly, they didn't hear her barking anymore. The computer showed that the stress she was experiencing in the heated capsule had caused her heart to stop beating. When the scientists announced this feat to the whole world, they received an unexpected reaction. They thought everyone would consider this a great discovery and that the scientists would be seen as superior for having sent a live animal into space. But what the world cared about was Laika, the little dog. People took to the streets in protest all over the world. Children and adults in small towns and big cities all shouted, "No mistreatment of animals! We must care for our animal friends!" People grew more and more angry. They wanted Russia to promise never to do this again and never to use animals as test subjects in space again. And these promises were actually granted. Embarrassed by what they had done to Laika, one day the scientists spoke out, saying they would never again use animals for their tests. People exploded with joy. They had done it. The scientists had listened. Of course, the dogs didn't say anything because they didn't understand what was happening. But today we all know that one little dog named Laika and her great courage helped accomplish a great feat. Man could fly into space and conquer new places. This is why Laika is the most famous and loved dog on Earth.